It's not every day you find yourself at gunpoint over a banana bread delivery. But that's exactly where I was. Standing in the middle of Willow Creek Circle, badge clipped to my belt, sun glaring off my sheriff's star, and a woman named Dolores Pennington screaming into a megaphone from atop a golf cart. "Citizens arrest," she bellowed, her voice crackling through the cheap speaker, drawing a crowd of confused neighbors clutching coffee mugs and HOA pamphlets like shields. The part that still makes me chuckle today is that Dolores genuinely thought she could arrest me. Me, the sheriff of the entire county. And she hadn't come alone. Oh no. Dolores had assembled a full tactical squad, a handful of retirees wearing homemade armbands, one man wielding a pool noodle like a sword, and a dog in a baby stroller barking furiously. 2 hours earlier, everything was perfectly normal. The sky was clear, the grass neatly trimmed, and I had one simple goal: deliver a batch of my mom's banana bread to Deputy Javier Marquez before it got cold. Halfway across the park, I spotted Dolores. Clipboard in one hand, walkie-talkie in the other, her gait sharp enough to cut steel. I should have detoured behind the pool. I should have run. But no, I was feeling confident. I figured I'd get a few neighborly waves, maybe a nod or two. Instead, Dolores locked onto me like a guided missile, squinting at my sidearm like it was a bomb. "Excuse me, sir," she barked, stepping directly into my path. "You're violating Willow Creek HOA regulations regarding open carry on private property." I smiled politely. "Morning, Dolores. Sheriff Luke Ramsey, County Sheriff's Office. Just passing through." I tapped my badge, letting the sunlight reflect off it. Dolores blinked, took a cautious step back, then incredibly doubled down. "Badge or no badge, you're still subject to Willow Creek HOA Bylaw 14C7, subsection G," she declared. "No open carry of firearms within communal areas unless explicitly authorized by HOA security detail." Before I could correct her, she whipped out her walkie-talkie and barked, "Code red. All units, mobilize. Armed trespasser in the playground zone." The words had barely left her mouth when 4 more residents appeared from behind trees and bushes. One man wore a homemade flak vest made of yoga mats. 82-year-old Mrs. Appleton, fierce as a wasp, came barreling toward me in her golf cart. Just then, Javier texted me, "Bro, Dolores is on a rampage. Hide your badge. Hide your wife." I typed back, "Too late? Send backup. Bring artillery." Mrs. Appleton skidded to a stop inches from me. Dolores scrambled atop the golf cart like a general. "Place your weapon on the ground and surrender peacefully," she screeched into her megaphone. I tried unsuccessfully to stifle a laugh. "Non-compliance will be noted in the incident report," she barked, dramatically flipping pages on her clipboard. Their tactical unit formed a semicircle around me. I could have explained that county law trumped HOA bylaws or that I could arrest them for obstruction, but Dolores didn't want logic. She wanted war. Slowly, I unclipped a black lockbox from my belt and placed it gently on the sidewalk. Dolores's eyes gleamed. She jabbed a finger at it. "What's in the box? Contraband? Unregistered firearms?" "Banana bread," I said. Silence. A bird chirped somewhere. Dolores rallied. "That's what they all say," she cried. She ordered Mr. Fulton and his twin grandsons to secure the package. That's when Mayor Georgia Langley pulled up in her black sedan, heels clicking across the pavement. She surveyed the absurdity: golf carts, retirees, banana bread being treated like C4, and sighed. "Luke," she called, "are you being arrested by the HOA again?" I shrugged. "Apparently, I'm an armed insurgent now." Dolores sprinted over, vibrating with righteousness. "Mayor Langley, as chief security officer, I'm conducting a citizen's arrest on an unidentified armed male." Georgia cocked an eyebrow. "You're trying to arrest the sheriff over baked goods," she deadpanned. Dolores nodded stiffly. "The HOA has jurisdiction over common areas." "Of course you do," Georgia said sweetly. "All the authority that fits inside that clipboard." Dolores didn't catch the sarcasm. She saluted smartly and spun back toward me. Javier showed up panting moments later, surveying the scene, the semicircle of pensioners. The banana bread treated like radioactive waste, and muttered, "Man, I leave you alone for 10 minutes and you start a civil war." Dolores pointed at Javier. "Detain him." Javier blinked. "Detain the sheriff?" "I don't think that's legal, ma'am." Dolores bristled. "You think, or you know?" I decided it was time to end the charade. I pulled out my ID, badge, and department credentials. Dolores, I said clearly. I am Sheriff Luke Ramsey, duly elected. You cannot arrest me for carrying a registered sidearm or banana bread. Dolores stared at the badge, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. For one glorious second I thought she'd relent. She didn't. She scribbled furiously on her clipboard and declared, "Fine. Expect a citation for failure to display proper HOA visitor credentials." And that's how I got written up for illegal walking while armed with banana bread. You'd think that would be the end, but Dolores took it as a call to arms. By Monday, she'd plastered the Willow Creek Facebook page with dire warnings about deep state infiltration. Photos of me blurry and snapped from behind a bush were captioned with, "Would the real sheriff behave this way?" Sam showed me the post while wheezing with laughter. "Apparently," he said, "you're a deep cover operative sent to destroy suburban America." By noon, Dolores had organized an emergency HOA meeting titled Security Crisis, Identifying Imposters. Of course, I had to attend. The clubhouse resembled a courtroom play directed by toddlers. Dolores stood behind a makeshift podium, a chief of security operations name tag pinned proudly to her chest. She tapped the mic. "Ladies and gentlemen of Willow Creek, we are under siege." She introduced Exhibit A, the blurry photo of me holding the banana bread. "Notice the suspicious package," she said, wielding a laser pointer that shook in her hand. Javier leaned in and whispered, "Maybe it's a muffin bomb." Dolores then showed grainy footage of me waving. "Aggressive hand gestures," she said solemnly. Incredibly, some residents nodded along, fear spreading faster than reason. Karen finished by demanding a vote to launch Operation Verify and Nullify, complete with laminated investigator badges she'd made at home. Mayor Langley, now sipping iced coffee in the back, raised a hand lazily. "You realize," she said, "that Luke's been sheriff for 3 years? You campaigned against him, remember?" Dolores smiled beatifically. "Exactly. Grounds for suspicion." Georgia sighed. "Fine. Tribunal it is." And so I found myself on trial at the Willow Creek Community Center. Karen accused me of unauthorized open carry and transporting uninspected suspicious packages. When asked how I pled, I said, "Very not guilty." Dolores ordered me to open the lockbox. I unclipped the latches with great ceremony. Inside, a loaf of banana bread wrapped in foil, a thermos of coffee, and a manila envelope full of department memos. Georgia plucked a piece of bread, popped it in her mouth, and declared, "No felonies detected." The room erupted into laughter. Dolores sputtered there could be something hidden inside. Couldn't resist. "Like what?" "Classified walnuts." To cap off the night, Georgia issued me an honorary Willow Creek resident pass, no inspections required. We celebrated with a massive barbecue at the park. I presented Dolores with a shiny new badge that read, "Neighborhood Nuisance Officer." She accepted it stiffly but still pinned it to her lapel. As the sun set, kids ran wild and neighbors swapped stories. Dolores was already huddling with her loyalists, plotting new bylaws about acceptable flower bed colors or patriotic flag displays. But I wasn't worried. This was my town, my neighborhood. And if the day ever came when Dolores rose again, clipboard and megaphone in hand, I'd be ready, maybe even with another loaf of banana bread.